I'm moving forward every day. Jesus, I just let him lead the way every second, every minute, every hour of the day. I'm moving with Jesus every day. 24/7 with Jesus every day. 24/7. I'm moving with Jesus. I'm moving with Jesus every day.
Welcome to JC 24/7. I'm your host, Joleen Meharris-Simpson, and today we have on set with us Baptiste-Farfan, Director of Women's Ministries at South Caribbean Conference, and also Martin Edmund. He is a Senior Advisor to End It Now. Martin and Baptiste-Farfan, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Martin, tell us about End It Now. How did it all begin, and how long has the program been in existence?
The program has been in existence for 9 years now. This is the 9th edition of the End It Now campaign. And the program started as an initiative of the Global Seventh-day Adventist Church. It was a campaign that was designed to bring an end to violence against women initially. Here at the conference level, we got on board with the global program when it commenced in 2009. And essentially, we started by having an annual run-walk event. It has been 9 years of continuous growth and development designed to sensitize the public as to this really, really evil scourge that's affecting the nation. And this year, we hope to continue that trend.
Yes, violence. We live in a very violent society. I mean, we see our murder rates are spiraling. And what can we do to help our young men and women to look for alternative methods to resolve conflicts other than violence?
Okay, well, as I would have mentioned previously, and it now here in Trinidad and Tobago essentially was an event-oriented exercise. We've expanded that this year. We've adopted a philosophical approach, and we've designed a curriculum which includes a number of events designed to bring an end to violence in all its forms. We believe that crime has affected our society to the extent where we are at the point of desperation. If you ask individuals, they would tell you that the two problems that weigh most heavily in our society would be employment, or unemployment rather, and crime. And so we want to deal with that particular issue of crime and criminality in our society. We do not believe that being prescriptive is going to solve the issue. Yes, we know that the government has rolled out its crime plan and so on, but we believe that we ought to be preventative in nature. And so to deal with the issue of crime, we have to get into the hearts of our young people. We have to affect their worldview, their orientation. And so crime prevention is more about values transformation than anything else. And so that's what we want to do with the End It Now program. And so we've designed a number of activities inclusive of family-oriented seminars, positive parenting seminars, school campaigns, which would include things like public awareness days, the distribution of literature throughout the country, as well as use of some of the visual and performing arts, such as the spoken word and storyboarding and so on, to help equip young people with the tools to deal with violent tendencies. Okay. Now, Joleen, you would have mentioned the issue of how do we get young people to make positive choices? Positive choices,
because, right. I mean, we see it in the schools. We read stories of violence and fights, even boys and girls. I mean, how can we get them to really change that mindset and just have positive discussions and not turn to violence?
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, society is subject to a preponderance of violent activities. There are two vehicles that we see it being manifested in the most. That would be music and movies. And I was looking at the latest Denzel Washington movie, Equalizer 2. And in that movie, Denzel is attempting to resolve the issue of dealing with the oppressed and the oppressors. And the vehicle that he's using to bring equality between these two groups, fortunately, happens to be violence. And so, he's trying to equalize or balance the equation using the tool of violence. And so, we are being exposed to violence as a tool to bring equality amongst those who are
He's
oppressed.
using violence to solve violence.
Yes.
Really.
All right. So, and we feel that that's counterproductive. So, what we want to do with this particular program is to allow young people to realize that there are triggers, and once you can identify those triggers, you do not have to respond to them. You can make alternative choices.
Yes.
So, instead of saying that I'm going to lash out physically, or I'm going to lash out verbally, what can I do that would bring a certain amount of calm and resolution to the situation as opposed to being negative?
Okay. Thanks. Pastor Farfan, another problem we have in society is high rates of domestic violence.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we read really terrible stories in the newspaper every day concerning male and female relationships. How can we reach out to them to help reduce the incidence of domestic violence?
Communication. Communication is the major vehicle in which partners can find that solution to their issues. We were discussing before. Today we have women who are more educated, who are educating themselves, and we have a lot of problems in those areas where there are men in the relationship and can't, find that comfortable place.
I think it's a balance of power.
Yeah, there's a lot of pulling and tugging when it comes to that. And so you find now that people have to come together and find their comfortable self and bring their best foot forward into what they have in terms of contributing to their relationship. And communication is the key to coming together and finding out where the other person is. Sometimes we are brought up in different environments and we see things differently. Something as simple as that, it needs to be hammered out before or during the relationship so that people can be more respectful of each other.
Yes, because in modern society, we talk about the independent woman, and some women say, well, I am making more than my husband, or I don't need, some women even say, I don't need a man. I can buy my own house, I have my own car. I mean, Martin, how would you advise a man who's in a situation, his wife is making more money than him, and he feels, less of a man? What advice would you give to him or to them to improve their relationship?
Well, the initial thing I would do is I would say to her that she needs to be positive in terms of her speech. To him, I would say to him that he has to intrinsically find a certain amount of self-worth. Yes, his wife may be the primary economic earner in the family, but he has to look at his strengths. What value can I add to the relationship? And while it may not be, value in terms of economic prowess on par with her, there are things that maybe he can contribute in terms of his own inherent skills and abilities. If he's artistic in nature, he can engage in beautifying the space around the home. If he's good with his hands, he can add on to the physical structure. If he possesses the skills of taking care of the children, or even culinary skills, he can do the meal preparation and so on. So he has to find within himself that intrinsic element that allows him to add value to the relationship and to his home as well.
Yes, because sometimes when the man feels like he's not being the man he should, and he doesn't know how to deal with his anger and his emotions, he might lash out and become violent. So you're talking about the woman being positive in her speech. What examples can you give us? What do you mean by positive in her speech? Okay,
well, I think she can say to him, honey, I like the way you tended the plants, or honey, I appreciate the meal that you cooked today. It's very delicious. Or, things like that. And encourage him.
Encouraging him. Yes.
What about let's look at programs we can do together. If she recognizes that he may not be as academically inclined as she is, she can encourage him to do short courses and so on. Sit with him and go through the newspaper and so on, and suggest him, honey, don't you think this might be a good idea? You can, if you attend this course, you can enhance your skills in this particular area, and encourage them to get that, that kind of additional training and empowerment.
Yes, that's great advice, to encourage him, keep it positive and communicating. Thank you, Martin. We'll be right back to talk about more on End It Now and the programs we have coming up for this year's observance.
On is all that they hold dear. Who will offer hope and refuge in this hour of need? What you give the least of these, you give. Country steeped in turmoil, a city now destroyed, a haunted look within the eyes of every girl and boy. Who will help this broken people fallen to their knees? What you give the least of these, you give unto me. A mother sits in mourning in the middle of the street, where hungry children wander with no shoes on their feet. There is a need much deeper than the physical can show. Light must pierce the darkness that they know. There is a love that's burning through the darkness and the strife, bringing hope and healing like the springtime bears new life. Reach out to your brother, help the wounded and the weak. What you give the least of these, you give unto me. Reach out to your brother, help the wounded and the weak. What you give the least of these, you give unto me. You give the least of these, you give unto
And we're back. We're talking about End It Now, Adventists Say No to Violence, with Pastor Farfan and also Martin. Pastor Farfan, tell us more about the activities that are planned for this year.
We have a host of activities, and as I say activities, Martin mentioned earlier, it is a philosophy. It is a campaign that we investing in. And so it's not just activities that we're having, but we wanted to be a part of an entire working, functioning tool that we can use in order to help folks. And so on the 11th of August, we would be having a rally in Labrie, throughout the village of Labrie, and a spot meeting there.
Tell us the
That
time.
starts at 3 o'clock. And we intend to really bring out a lot of people, and so that we can really impact Labrie, make them more aware as to what's happening, and be a part of
Sure.
of this.
Why
of
did
this
you
event.
choose Labrie?
Most recently, we know of the quadruple murder that there was in Labrie, and we chose that area to highlight this event, so that, to bring hope to the people of Labrie.
Okay, so this rally starts at 3 p.m.
At 3
And
p.m.
persons who are interested, what is the meeting point in Labrie?
It's right at the savannah in Labrie, and so then we walk through the streets of Labrie, and then we have, of course, some featured addresses that would be brought to the people. And after that, on the 22nd of August, we have tract distribution, with distribution about domestic violence, violence in all its forms, and also helpful materials as well, information where people can get help, and so.
And where exactly? What areas in
Those
Trinidad?
are going to be in San Fernando,
Okay.
Port of Spain, and in St. Augustine.
Okay.
Right?
And any special reason we chose these 3 areas?
The traffic, it's heavily trafficked. We chose those areas because of that, and we noticed too that there are lots of people who have gone missing. So we really want to highlight trafficked areas that are, you have people coming from different spheres of life coming through the hubs of these areas. So we really want to target those areas. We also have a drama production that is going to be portrayed on the night of the 25th. And the 25th, as a matter of fact, is the actual day that is designated to domestic violence all around the world. 200 countries around this world would be recognizing the date, August 25th, as the day that was designated to domestic violence and violence awareness, and and so in all of our churches around the globe, we will have sermons, we would have drama, we would have things displayed in many ways, that's suited or tailored to the various churches.
Saying no against
violence.
And on that day, the 25th, there's also a run walk, and I know that's Martin's specialty.
On
right?
the 26th, actually.
The 26th,
yes,
sorry.
yes. Sunday
so
the 26th.
25th is the drama.
Yes, the night of the 26th, sorry.
That's a Saturday.
That's a Saturday
Right,
night
Saturday
at 7:30. Yes.
And then on the Sunday,
On the Sunday,
it's the run walk.
It's the run
Martin,
walk.
tell us about the run walk.
Well, the run walk takes place at the Queen's Park Savannah, and it starts at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. And there are a number of ancillary activities that would take place to augment this particular event, a health fair and some sensitization activities.
The health fair will take place before the walk?
Yes.
Okay, at what location?
At the Savannah itself. So the hub will be the Savannah, the Queen's Park Savannah.
Yes.
And following the run walk on the 26th, we're going to roll out a number of other initiatives, and that would commence.
But just before, let's make sure we tell the viewers where exactly are we going to meet for the run walk at 3 p.m. on Sunday the 26th?
we're looking at the slab.
Yes.
Yes, at the slab.
Yeah.
At the slab at the Savannah.
At the
Yes.
Savannah.
And the health fair is at what
Right there.
time?
It starts at approximately 1. Yeah.
At 1. Okay, so at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
we invite you all to come to the Queen's Park Savannah to take part in the health fair, and then the run walk starts at 3 p.m.
3
So if you'd like to run, you can. If you're like
Yes.
me, I'll be walking.
And when you come to walk, you can pay a $50 registration fee and you'll get a jersey a lot like what Martin is wearing. But the color will be purple, which is actually the color that is designated against violence.
And Martin, you're telling us after August, because you said you're going to have other events, you're just going to be a campaign for 1 month. What is happening after August?
Okay, as Pastor Farfan would have mentioned, we've adopted a campaign approach as opposed to an event approach this time around. And so starting in the new academic year, we will be targeting a number of the schools throughout the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. We'll be conducting literature distribution campaigns. So we'll be distributing literature on topics such as self-awareness, anger management, being responsible behavior, literature pertinent to topics of that type. That will be followed by special days designated for what we term positive values. For example, we would promote things like an honesty day, forgiveness day, sharing day, to highlight positive values, because we recognize that this campaign is a campaign, really to transform values. We understand that society is at the breaking point. We talk ad nauseum about the crime scourge, and we really want to counteract that. And we recognize that crime and criminality has its genesis in violent thought initially. So what we want to do is we want to focus on how we can transform the thought patterns of our young people and our seniors as well, right? To give them the tools to move away from violence, because the run walk is a symbolic event. It represents a running away from something, violence, but we're running towards something because we need to
behavior. What about parenting?
Right.
Would y'all be having any parenting seminars?
Yes. Pastor Farfan will deal with that.
In the month of September, we actually teaming up with the Family Life Department, and we would be having a seminar in the month of September. So you'd hear more about it,
Yes,
to come.
because how a child is conditioned has a lot to do with his or her behavior and how he or she participates in society. So parenting is very important, and I'm happy to see that you will be addressing that. Would we be partnering with any other NGOs or any other groups in society?
Yes, we would be. Actually, we are going to be inviting a lot of the government organizations that are related to this campaign initiative, and also the public is invited. We want to encourage as many persons as possible. You may have had experience with, losing a loved one to violence, or you know of somebody who would have experienced such an incident. So, come out. We're encouraging also people to make their own pack cards and, just come and walk with us, and let's send a message, or receive a message from this whole initiative.
Martin, there's a young man or an older man who's looking on, and he has anger issues, tends to lash out and not sure how to deal with all this emotion. And what advice can you give him?
Okay, Joleen, I'm glad you would have, highlighted the issue of young men lashing out, because statistics reveal that the majority of violent activity being perpetrated in society today is actually male-on-male violence. So my advice to young men who find that they're coping all that well with violent tendencies would be to initially speak with someone. Tell someone about the issues that you're struggling with. And as a society in general, what we need to do is we need to teach our young people and even our senior folk as well to identify those triggers that would initiate violent thoughts and lead. Those thoughts would essentially lead to aggressive conduct and so on. So we initially need to teach them to identify those triggers. and we need to equip them with coping mechanisms to handle those triggers in a positive way and eventually eliminate the response to those triggers. So I would tell them to first speak with someone and air those issues that you have, those things that really disturb you, and to identify those feelings that come up when you're faced with those particular triggers.
Yes, thank you for that. Pastor Farfan, there's a woman out there looking on. She's hurting in an abuse situation, or even a man, because sometimes men are embarrassed to talk about violence. What would you tell him or her?
There's help. There's help out there. There are numbers to call. For example, 800-SAVE. There's somebody waiting on the other line to help. And for the children, children authorities, they too have been proven to be very efficient in handling the cases. So, there is help, there is hope. We also recognize too, just shifting a little bit, that there are a lot of women hurting, a lot of families hurting because their loved ones are missing. And to date, it is alarming, the statistics. And I wanna say to women, guard your children, guard your young people, guard your girls, because it is at an alarming state, and we really want to say end it now to all the violence that's taking place.
Thank you. So just to remind our viewers, what can they participate in August to end it now?
Oh, they can participate in every aspect of the programs that we have.
We have the rally
in
the
11. And the 11.
At 3 p.m.?
At 3 p.m. We have also the run walk at the Queen's Park Savannah
on the 26th.
On the 26th. Yes. We have the drama production at on the 25th. That's the night of the 25th. And also we have the track distribution that is taking place. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. I would like to thank Pastor Farfan and Martin Edmund for being here on set with us on JC 24/7, speaking about End It Now and End to Violence. Thank you. Do have a blessed day.
Thank you for viewing JC 24/7. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and remember to inspire your living as you prepare for heaven. You can get it all on JC 24/7.